I had the unique opportunity to grow up in a Christian household, multiple generations in my family. At 7 years old, I accepted Christ at Trinity Baptist Church in Lubbock, Texas. And then I was very actively involved in the church, in the youth group, in the children's choir, and the youth choir for many years. And then I went away to college. And at that point in time, I decided to go follow Ben's path, not God's path, which seemed to work out okay. I met a beautiful lady named Judy and married her in 1983. And then in 1996, we moved back to Plano. And I was traveling to Hong Kong at the time. I told Judy to go find a church where she could go get involved. And so we joined Legacy Drive Baptist Church at the time. A few months later, I went to a Promise Keepers conference at Reunion Arena. And there was a speaker there, and his message was pretty clear. You can either be on this side of the fence, which is self, or you can be on this side of the fence, which is God. Or you can try and play on the middle of the fence, be here on, Sunday and be over here on Monday to Saturday. And that's where I was. I was going to church on Sunday, but, over here the rest of the week. And so it convicted me at that point in time that I needed to give all of my life to Christ and serve Him every day of the week. And I've done that consistently for the last 26 years. And then in 2006, we decided to come back down here and start visiting here. And one of the key drivers for us was just the children's program and the youth program. My youngest daughter, Rebecca, she grew up here in the children's program, youth program, and is now back involved going here and going with the young adult ministry. And we have really appreciated the teaching from Jeff Warren and from Sam Holmes. In April of 2001, I decided to take early retirement from the business community. And probably a couple of months prior to that, I started praying, God, just show me where you want me to be, where you want me to serve. Put me in a place where I can build relationships with people, and then after building that relationship, share the gospel with them. And so then I left in April. First thing we did was decide to clean out our collection of junk for 18 years. And we went and hired some day laborers from downtown McKinney. And one of the day laborers spoke really good English. And so at lunch, when we were sitting down eating, I asked him, how'd you learn such good English? He goes, hey, I went and took an English class, ESL, and I paid $250 a month for it. I go, that's really a good benefit. Seems like that's a lot. So that's sort of the first one, because before that, I really didn't have any idea about ESL or even thinking about it as a possibility. The second one was my daughter decided to go to play volleyball over at Finch Park. And she was going to meet some friends over there. Her friends didn't show up. So she ended up playing volleyball with, 5 or 6 Hispanic families over there that, she just, developed great relationships with them and continued to do that for a year. And then Judy and I would go, my wife and I, Judy, would go over there and help and visit with the other people while we're there. And so over a period of time, we built good relationships with them. And that sort of opened my eyes. Okay, wait a second. There's a lot. I knew that there was a Hispanic population here in McKinney, but I really didn't have any idea how big it was. So I went home and did some research. And I looked at the elementary schools within 1 mile of First McKinney. There's 7 of them. And if you look at those 7 schools, 51% of the students in those schools are Hispanic. So then my youngest daughter, as you can tell, she's sort of a continual piece in this as well, Rebecca. She came to me and said, Dad, they need some male sponsors at Extreme Camp. I'm like, nah, I'll pray about it. And so about a week later, she came back and said, Dad, I really want you, have you prayed about it? I go, yeah, I haven't got a clear answer. She goes, and then she played the daddy card. She goes, I'd love for my daddy to go to Extreme Camp with me. So I went to extreme camp. I was sitting out there one afternoon and I looked across the 400 kids that were sitting out there. And at best, and the numbers may not be exactly right, there were 20 kids out there who were not Caucasian kids. And it dawned on me at that point that our church does not represent the community that's around us. And at that point in time, I'm like, I got it, God. You want me to go start a ministry to go reach our community. And at that point in time, I was more focused on the Hispanic community. And then I sat down and spoke with Ryan too. Ryan was very excited about it. A week later, after I spoke with him, he goes, "Can you start on August 27th? I go, "No, that would have been like 3 weeks later." I'm like, I know nothing about an ESL ministry. I'm not a teacher. I'm not bilingual. So, from my perspective, I'm the wrong guy for this role, but clearly this is what God has asked me to go do. So at that point in time, I was excited. I think in my subconscious, because after I met with them, I'm going, it might have been okay if they just said no, and then I could go back, God, I tried, we're good. But that wasn't the case. God started placing people in this ministry. People that were retired school teachers. We had a couple that were in their mid to late 80s. We had kids that were, 19, 18 years old. We had 7 missionaries, people that had been missionaries previously in their life. And all these people just came together and we started planning the launch of the ESL program. And at that point in time, I realized that there was no way that all this could come together if it wasn't clearly God's plan. So this wasn't Ben doing it, it was God doing it. And I remind myself of that every day, because without God, this wouldn't exist. So we launched the program in January. And we had started off with about 30 students, primarily Hispanic, a couple of people that were from Brazil that were, their language was Portuguese. And we ran it through the end of the semester, which would have been in May, and had a great turnout, continuing to meet people. In May, we had a supper to celebrate the first semester with all the students and their family. We had 4 people that came and accepted Christ. So it was starting to fulfill that. And I could sit here for an hour and share stories with you. We have students from 14 different countries that speak 7 different languages. And every time we get a new language, so when we got the people from the Ukraine, I'm like, okay, God, we need somebody that is fluent in Russian or Ukrainian. And there was a lady sitting right out here on the tables outside the fireside room that evening, and my daughter went and talked to her, my wife went and talked to her, and lo and behold, it was Natalia, who's fluent in Russian. I'm like, okay, God, thank you. Thank you for answering that prayer. And now we have 13 people from Ukraine that are attending the classes. This last week, we had a person from Cuba, which is the first person from Cuba to attend the classes. In November, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. Second time, 15 years after the first one. And I went back to God and I go, God, did I misunderstand what you wanted me to do? Because I can't take care of Judy, my wife of 39 years, and launch an ESL ministry. And at that point in time, God reminded me, Ben, it's not about you, it's about God, it's about me. And I'm like, okay, got it. And we didn't miss a beat. Judy's cancer was treated extremely well by the doctor. She's now cancer-free again. And it was just amazing to see that. I mean, it's just a reminder, and God reminds me every week, Ben, it's not you, it's me. and it's evident in the volunteers that show up. I mean, the love that our teachers and volunteers show to these students every week is amazing. The focus is to help people increase their knowledge of English, to improve their life, and to improve their job. The ESL program at First McKinney looks like Christ reaching out to his community every week. It's about teaching English, sharing the love of Christ, and helping people every week. I have no idea where God is going to take this program. I think it'll be amazing. The challenge that I have for anyone that's watching this video is two. One, please serve. You don't have to have a special skill. Just come show the love of Christ to these students and help them with their English. Help them with the language that you've known your entire life. Second, keep your eyes open. In your everyday life, you will see people whose English is not their primary language. Walk up to them, talk to them, establish a relationship. Mention to them that we have an ESL program here at First McKinney, or English classes at First McKinney. And probably at least 50% of the time, they're going to take you up on it.